Hey guys, Ponce here again about the whole proposed season 4 support change stuff. As you may or may not know, I made another video on that. I'll put that in the description if you want. But in any case, I wanted to go over something a little bit more specific that Riot discussed within the thread that they posted about the changes. Specifically, Martyrs Call, an item that they've sort of announced. This is, it's not on the public test realm again. Like this may never even make it into the game. But I thought it was kind of interesting. Like they outlined a specific item and gave actual stats for it. So I'm just going to go from the perspective that this goes into the game as is. But again, like it might not actually make it in the game, so don't get your heart set on whatever. I thought it was quite interesting, so why don't I read off what it does? Martyr's Call, plus 300 health, plus 10 HP regen per 5. Unique active consumes 20% of your current health to give 10% of your max health as a shield to target ally. I don't know what it builds out of. It'd have to be some kind of bizarre combination of ruby crystal and what's it called? Those little bead items, the regen beads, or something like reju beads. I can't remember the name. But yeah, I just thought I'd talk about what I would think this sort of item might be interesting on, and sort of the implications for the game. Again, this item is being introduced in Season 4, so you have to take into account that like the game is going to, or in theory, should be very, very different from what it is now. So it's hard to speculate on this, with any degree of accuracy. But I just kind of thought, it'd be, I'd sort of or sort of, I guess, yeah, outline the sort of the no-brainer champions. I can see this going on very easily. For example, like Mundo, Singed, Zac. If you've ever seen Big Fat GG or Big Fat LP as he's known as now, his tanky Nocturne, that kind of playstyle. Cho'Gath, Shen, people will probably end up taking out on Jarvan too. But the thing with items like this is I don't really see it too much on, like I can see it in some instances as a tanky top lane item, but it looks more like a jungle item than anything. The problem with building items like this that don't give you much lane presence is unless you're like a very specific, you just sit in the lane, it doesn't really matter too much what the other guy does. For example, things with very good sustain like Cho'Gath, he'll just sit there. It doesn't really matter what he builds, and he'll just keep healing himself and generally stay in the lane and be competitive. But most champions tend to require a lot of item power to stay in top lane. So if you build sort of supporty things and diverge a bit from lane strength, you get bullied out pretty quickly. That's always a risk with building items like this. So I see it much more as kind of a tanky jungler sort of thing, barring again sort of weird examples like Cho'Gath or whatnot top lane. So it's more so kind of also probably best on champions. Obviously, champions that stack HP, but champions that, as a result of becoming tanky, have the threat of being ignored. So again, Singed is another example. Especially if the champion is designed around getting low and then suddenly healing up. For example, Singed, Mundo. Zac is also designed on somewhat getting kind of low and the ability to heal himself back up. And they're all champions that, if the other team is playing correctly, they will ignore you, and you don't really want that. So it's kind of, I guess, a support threat that you provide to your team. Um, I guess an example of a champion you wouldn't want this on, but you could theory sort of seeing it being sort of good would be like, for example, Aatrox or champion or Jarvan in lane. Like these are both champions that need items to stay relevant in lane and bully the other guy out. If you start to deviate, you're gonna get bullied back yourself. An instance of something I thought would be pretty funny with this item would be Tryndamere. It's probably not going to be optimal, but I can see people, trying to focus the Tryndamere down, and he stacks some HP, so he's sort of like a tanky damage hybrid Tryndamere. And so he goes down to like 1 HP, hits his ult, and then so you focus someone else, and then he uses this item on the AD carry that they're now focusing on, and he it doesn't matter because he has 1 HP, and so he doesn't lose anything because of course it consumes 20% of your current health, not your maximum health or whatever, and then it gives 10% of your max health to the target ally, not your current health. In terms of this item as a support item, I can also see that in specific instances, probably with Alistair and Leona. Other champions that just don't have very much HP or don't bother stacking it very much, I don't see it being worth very much. Like for example, if you're a low HP support that only has about 200 HP, you're giving, you're siphoning health off yourself and then giving, 10% of 2,000 is 200. A 200 HP shield, you know. But, if you're an Alistair with, let's say, in the 3,000s or something, if you can make, especially now that supports will be getting more gold, they'll be able to hit those sort of higher HP numbers. So if you have, let's say, an Alistair with the mid 3,000 range or a Leona with a mid 3,000 range, it's like 350 shield, just kind of bam on the person. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if this item makes it in as is, what sort of things people will come up to use it in. You guys are, of course, free to speculate yourselves right now, but that's it from me for now. See you guys around. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.